Thanks for joining us today to discuss life and godliness with Rick and Angela Carter. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, email us at cartersforhope@gmail.com. That's Carters, the number 4, hope@gmail.com. Any questions you have, we'll discuss in future episodes. Right now, sit back and let's join in on the conversation. Hey, everybody. Hope that you're well today. We are in Oak Harbor, Washington. Had a good trip out to Oshkosh, but doing a conference here for Bible Baptist Church in Oak Harbor, and we're excited about being here. It's been a good week so far. We are in a very beautiful island. It's a beautiful island.
Yeah, beautiful.
And it's just a really pretty place. But we are getting geared up for a big trip.
Yes.
We're going to leave on Friday. When we're done, we finish here Thursday. When we leave Friday, we're going to drop our trailer off. We're going to fly down to Mexico and do a national conference there. If you would like to help with that, we could use your help, by the way. Then we fly from there to Oklahoma. We have 1 week to get ready for the National Hope Conference and kind of putting the stuff together that we need to there in Oklahoma. Then we have our National Addiction and Counseling Conference, or Counseling and Addiction Conference, whatever it is. And that is a huge week for us. And if you're able to come to that, we would love to have you. You can find information on that on our Hope website, hope4addictions.com.
It's kind of like the Super Bowl
for us.
Yeah,
it's a big week. I'll be teaching a full course on Life Issues Discipleship 1. It's one of our foundational counseling course that we do for training, and we have a great week there that week. And then the week after that, we do a conference over a family conference, Missouri, and then we come back. So we'll be gone almost a month. And so what we're doing is we're going to record a number of podcasts over the next couple of days. So we're not going to talk after this one. We're not going to talk about where we are, what we're doing, and all that for the next several weeks because we'll be gone.
It'll be pre-recorded.
Yeah. So, but we had made up a list of things that we would like to talk about. And one of the things that we decided when we planned the podcast, just in the original planning of it, was that we wanted it to be life and godliness. So we wanted to be able to talk about anything
and everything
that we wanted to talk about. And so one of the things on our list for things to talk about, things that we find interesting and we hope will be interesting to you, is the idea of travel. And so what we decided to do for this episode is to both make a list. Don't look at my list. Both make a list of travel tips. So this is our top 10 travel tips each. And Angela was like, well, we'll probably have exactly the same thing on there because that's how women think. They think that men think like they think.
You should think like we think.
And men don't think like women think. And men don't understand how women think.
That's true.
And one time Angela said, do you understand what I mean? And I said, ever.
Yeah. I hear that a lot.
Hardly ever. Anyway, so these are our travel tips. And
so we made our list.
We made lists, and we're gonna compare lists. I don't know what's on her list. She doesn't know what's on my list, unless she just snuck a look.
No, I didn't.
Right
I did see how long your list is, and mine's longer.
Well, mine's keywords to remind me.
Oh.
I didn't write like everything I was gonna say.
Oh.
So. I'm a man. I'm not as wordy.
Not as wordy. Wow, that's wordy.
All right. So we're going to start at number 1. We'll work our way down to number 10. Or should we start at number 10 and work our way to number 1?
I didn't put them in order like that. I just wrote down.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of did too. So that's why I don't think it matters.
Start at 1.
Okay. So number 1, I'll give my number 1, then you give your number 1.
Okay.
And then you give your number 2 and I'll give my number 2.
Okay.
Okay. And we'll go back and forth like that. All right.
Okay.
All right. Number 1, my number 1 is Pack Light. Is that your number 1? All right. So I told you. I thought that we would have at least one that would be exactly the same. And I figured it was the number 1. And so that was my thought. Number 1.
It would probably be my number 1.
It is my number 1 also.
Yeah, Pack Light. Because you want to be free to do whatever you want to do.
Anything more than a carry-on and a backpack is overpacking. And it doesn't matter how long you're traveling. It literally does not matter. We'll travel for a month on a backpack and a carry-on, and the only
They do
reason
laundry everywhere.
everywhere, if they wear clothes, they do laundry, and it is not expensive to have laundry done. Everywhere that we go, we have done this.
And if you're in Europe and it takes you a little longer to get your laundry done, it's okay. It stinks there too.
Yeah, I mean it's so okay. So when I say pack light, for me this is packing light. Angela has a different definition of packing
I'm
light.
a little different.
She's a little different. She's a girl.
My pack
So-
light's a slightly heavier than his pack light.
Yeah. So the only reason I take my backpack is my computer, my iPad, study and teaching purposes. I take those things. And then if I wasn't studying and teaching, I might not even take those.
Yeah.
But then like battery packs and snacks. And that's what I take in my backpack.
Yeah.
And my Bible. I would take my Bible regardless. But so then my packing goes like this. I'll wear a pair of casual pants. I'll take one pair extra of casual pants, and I'll take 2 pair of like Hager cool, slacks, right? And then I'll take 2 dress shirts, and I'll pack 3 regular shirts, 2 or 3 regular shirts. And then I do take 7 days of socks, 7 days of undergarments, and then of course my bath stuff, which for me, my bath stuff is my brush, I use a wood comb, and I've had the same wood comb
Since the Philippines. It's
the-
been numerous
since
years.
the second time we went to the Philippines.
Yeah.
And then my toothbrush and a razor, and I will take like a travel toothpaste, but I don't even stress about that because they have toothpaste everywhere we've ever gone.
Yeah.
So basically my comb, my razor, and I take 1 pair of shoes. That's it. I wear that pair of shoes. I don't pack shoes. All right. So that's my pack light. And I can go a month on that right there. And the nice thing is like, even like shirts and pants, I definitely wear more than once when I'm traveling. Like pants, you can wear pants, multiple times. A good pair of jeans, you might be able to wear 5 days in a row. Like you definitely would have to do laundry. That's the truth. That's the truth. If you're not getting them dirty, if you're not getting stuff
Yeah,
all
you're
over.
just like sitting
Yeah, you're just walking, you're sitting and stuff
and
like
not
that.
dropping food on yourself.
I'm not saying I always wear jeans 5 days in a row. I'm just saying you could because they just don't show dirty as like other things. Okay.
Boy could.
All right. So that's guy pack light. What's girl pack light?
Okay, so I take a couple of like 3 jean skirts, and then I take about 3 athletic skirts, and then I take like 1 nice dress or nice skirt. And then I have multiple t-shirts that I take, or multiple shirts. So like
So she overpacks.
so I wouldn't take like 6
She always
shirts.
just takes one.
Because, like you said, sometimes you can wear your bottoms a couple of times. Shirts, I don't wear
Guys don't
multiple
have-
days.
Guys have
So
a bottom, not bottoms, with pants.
yeah. Of course, in the 7 days of undergarments, all of that. And then
I'd say 7 days of undergarments is a minimum.
minimum. Yeah, usually I'll take about 10 actually. But
Well, I take 7.
anyway.
I'd say don't take less
Just
than
in
that.
case I can't get to the laundry when I need to get to the laundry. But that's a whole nother thing. But then, of course, then I take my, shampoo and conditioner, and, sometimes I'll bring makeup. It depends on what I'm doing. If it's like, if we're going on a missions trip, or if it's just vacation, I won't take any makeup. Like, forget it. No makeup. And, I'll take my hairbrush. I'll take a barrette, or a hair tie, or, sometimes my flat iron.
Pack light, she
That is
said.
light. That
She
is
said
light.
pack light.
It
But-
all fits in my carry-on. It all fits in my
That's the
carry-on.
rule. Nothing bigger than the carry-on.
Yes. So
Carry on in a backpack, max. So you never have to wait for luggage. That way.
you're on and off.
The
And,
only reason we ever check luggage is if we're taking stuff to missionaries, taking stuff to
yes, that's
preachers.
true. That's true.
And then we will occasionally. Now, this is one thing we do. Angela has a bag that she packs.
That's what my backpack's
It's-
for.
It's a small bag. Okay.
Yeah.
I say, it folds up. It's like a easy to
Yeah.
fold up bag, but it's not a bad size bag. It's about the size of a like a suitcase carry on, but
No, but it folds up. It folds up to about this big.
and so while we're traveling, if we decide we want souvenirs, we buy them, we put them in that bag, and we use that bag for taking to laundry, right? And then, but then when we buy souvenirs, we put them in the bag, and then when we come back, we will check her
Suitcase.
carry-on suitcase and carry the bag.
Yeah.
and that gives us space for souvenirs.
That gives me, yeah.
That's a travel tip
I
that
can bring
we
things back.
didn't
yeah.
include in my list.
I didn't either.
Oh,
So that one's free.
Number 2.
Number 2. All right, I'm gonna mark off number 1.
I can't remember we did number 1.
Number 2, make sure you have enough storage on your camera.
Okay, interesting. I didn't put that on mine.
'Cause I'm all about taking
Honestly,
pictures.
we say camera. We only
We use
our phone.
That's why I said camera, because if it's your camera on your phone, you need to make sure you have phone storage or a way to upload the pictures every day or whatever.
Yeah.
And then because there's been one time where we didn't take our actual camera because it's bulky and it takes up room and all that. And nowadays your phone cameras do just as good a job. But
Well, I mean,
I ran out of space on my phone, and so I was like, I'm gonna have to delete these pictures that I took, a couple of days ago, and I don't want to do that, And so it was just kind of I had to figure out how to upload them. Google Photos storage is really good. Another tip about your Google Photos storage is when you upload your pictures to it, it will geocache where they're at. So then later on, if you're talking to somebody and you want to show them a picture of where you were at, you just go to the search button, type in where you were, and it pulls up all of the pictures from that area. So I love that feature about Google
that
Photos.
is a good feature, actually.
So I try to do that with all of my trips, and then so I can look back and I can search different photos and I can make photo albums of that particular trip or whatever that is. But make sure you have storage.
Okay, good tip. My number 2 tip.
Yep.
Okay, be adventurous. Okay,
That's on my list too, but
All
that's
right.
on number 9.
be adventurous. Do things you wouldn't normally do. Do things that are out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, things that you wouldn't normally eat.
Don't get away ahead of things. All right. Do things that are like way out of your comfort zone, because the problem traveling sometimes is for Americans is we're so demanding. Like we only want what we are used to and what we're comfortable with. And, well, that's not how they do it in America. It's like, get away from that mentality. Even if you're traveling in America, one region of the country to another, they don't do it the same. And that's the weird thing about America, is the idea that, well, in America, in your city or in your state, that might be how they do it, but that is not how they do it in the rest of America. It's different everywhere, even if you're just traveling across the country. And so, just be adventurous. Some big adventure things that I've done, we've swam with sharks.
Swam with sharks.
And
which was fun, which I was very nervous
awesome.
about, like super nervous about, but it was epic, and I would totally have done it again. I would do it again.
Again. I jumped off a cliff and parasailed over the Amazon rainforest.
I would not do that. I'd watch him do it.
On bam, opportunity arose, $25, didn't have to sign anything, just harnessed up and jumped off that cliff, and absolutely would do it.
With someone who couldn't even speak the language with.
It doesn't matter. It was incredible. It was beautiful. And, just things like that, take that hike. Take it like, well, we have to walk up to see that, volcano, to see that view, to see this stuff. Take the hike, be adventurous, do that thing, and go further than you think, go further in your
You may not ever
experience.
be back there again. Do everything you possibly can.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so that one's yours later on, so we'll hit that again. But okay, so my number three is eat local. So that's why I said don't get ahead of the food. Eat local. This kind of goes toward be adventurous because Angela brought it up there, but to me, it's so weird if you're in Italy, and Italy is the land of 1,000 foods, and everyone thinks, oh, it's all spaghetti and pizza. And yeah, they have spaghetti and they have pizza everywhere, carbonara everywhere, but every region has its own unique flavors. Take advantage of the uniqueness. Don't order the same thing everywhere. It weirds me out to be with Americans and go to a nationalized restaurant, like a local fare type restaurant, and them try and order chicken strips or
a hamburger.
Come on, experience the local.
You may find
love all kinds of foods, and we're weird. I know we're weird. We've been told we're weird, but
we acknowledge we're weird.
We eat stuff from the local area. One of the coolest places we've ever eaten.
Sometimes we get sick, and that's okay.
That's true, but you can get well, and we don't get sick very often. Street food is generally very safe. People eat it there all the time. It's the water that you have to kind of watch out for. But if you're drinking water that hasn't been boiled. When we were in the Dominican, and
I will tell you, if you go to the Dominican, talk to your doctor before you go beforehand and ask them if they could give you a preemptive medication for like parasites or whatever,
Yeah.
because I got one when we went there, and I know another lady they were going there, and I told her, you need to be careful, and she got one when she went there. So I mean, we are very careful where we eat,
but
still.
you can deal with it relatively easily if you get medication. And I will say this: carry activated charcoal.
Yes.
Carry no matter where you go.
Tip number 3.
I didn't even put that on my
I know.
list.
This
But-
is under your food.
Carry activated charcoal. Not if you eat something questionable, if you start to get a little bit issue, take activated charcoal, or just take activated charcoal the
While
whole
you're
time.
there. Yeah. But still, don't let that hinder you from being adventurous,
but-
because some of the best food.
Oh my goodness. One of the best meals we ever had. We were in the Dominican. We decided, let's take a bus up to the north side of the island. And the missionary was very concerned about this. You don't speak Spanish. They speak English everywhere when you need to buy something.
Yes, that's
Okay.
true.
So
You can find your way.
you can find your way. And so we got a bus. We went up to the north side of the island. We found this cable car that went up to this botanical garden up on a cliff.
Which was really
It
cool.
was incredible.
They had one of those big Rio Jesuses up there.
Yeah, and so we're walking around up there, and it just starts pouring. I mean, it was one of the heaviest rains I've ever been in.
Tropical rainstorm.
And so everyone's scrambling. You see people running, trying to find cover. And so we kind of went around this corner, and there's this shelter, little tin shelter, and a lady's under there cooking for the workers that are there. There were a bunch of people under there. Most of them were French.
We're French.
And it smelled delicious. It smelled
It
incredible.
did smell
Now,
really good.
in Dominican, the avocados are that big.
Like, they're
That's not it's
huge.
the avocados in Dominican are similar to the lemons in Capri, Italy.
Yes.
The lemons,
And the size of cantaloupes in America.
unbelievable. It's easily the size of cantaloupes.
Yeah.
So anyway, we run under there. It smelled delicious, and I'm standing there. I just said to the lady, I said, I don't know what you're cooking, but it smells delicious.
She doesn't speak
She
English.
doesn't. I said it smells delicious.
I think we said delicioso.
We-
Delicioso.
We presume she didn't speak. She never said anything to us one way or another. But the French people under there, they're like, she will not give you any. She will. And
They
we're
were
like,
just as snotty
they were
as
very
you
rude. They
perceived.
were being very rude. I
French
said, I don't
people
care if she gives me any. I was just complimenting her.
Yeah.
3 minutes later, she fixes this plate, great big slice of avocado, and this dish she had fixed, and she hands it to me,
Yeah.
and not to anyone else. The rest of them she just
They were like,
ignored them
"Oh."
all.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. It was
It
delicious.
was very good.
It was delicious.
It was very good.
It was easily the best thing we ate on the Dominican
It
Republic.
probably was
Because
the best
overall,
thing,
we
'cause
didn't like
everything
the
else
food on
was-
the Dominican, but we
Yeah.
tried it. We tried
We
it.
tried everything.
And
They're known for their salami, but it's not really
it's, not,
salami.
it's like a gritty bologna
It's really
texture
gross.
that has
It's really
a
gross.
sharp flavor.
But we tried it. It looked gross, but we still tried it.
Yeah,
And it was how it looked.
it was not good,
Yeah.
but now we know. Try
because
it.
you never know.
But the plantains, fried plantains,
Oh, yeah,
all that,
those were
they
good.
are really good. So anyway, all right. So that's my number 3 was on the food. All right, what's your number?
Number 3, make sure you tell your bank or credit card company when and where you will be
See, yours
traveling.
are so much more practical. I knew that's how it would be. Now,
Because I want to have fun.
yeah, and that's mostly important really for your bank because most credit cards now, well, our credit cards, they don't require us to. Matter of fact, if you try and notify them, they're like, yeah, you don't have to do
Yeah,
that.
who cares?
Your bank,
your bank
though,
card
does need to know when you're out of the country. Absolutely.
Yep. Because they'll lock it otherwise.
Yeah, and we've had that happen.
Yes, so
Yeah. All right.
and you don't want it to hinder your fun and your be adventurous.
Okay, number
That's what mine was.
4.
Number 4. Make sure you have the info of where you're staying in an easy to get to
Again,
spot.
when you fly into another country, you often
Mm-hmm.
have to write down lodging where you're going to be staying. So you have to have that info. I screenshot it and keep it as a photo
Yeah.
right before we leave so that it's right there, easy to access, and or
But
take a picture of
but
it.
not just traveling overseas. Like sometimes, when you're traveling here in America, you don't want it to be in your suitcase in the back trunk. You want it to be up front. You want it to be easy to get to because if not, it slows you down, and then you don't get to have as much fun as you want to have.
Right.
It's all about fun.
Fun. It's all about fun. That's what it's about with Angela. All about the fun. All right, here's my number 4. My number 4 is actually both practical and healthy.
Yeah, make fun of my practical.
No, yours was practical. I'm not against practical, but my number 4, 2 hours sit rule, and meaning when you're traveling, get up every 2 hours minimum.
Oh yeah,
So this is
especially
like
on those long flights.
on a plane, get up and walk around, get up and stretch, because you could get blood clots and whatnot, but more you just get real stiff, and as you get older, I guess especially, get up every 2 hours, walk around, go to the restroom, and just, even if you don't have to go to the restroom, go to the restrooms.
Go
Stretch.
get snacks. They leave snacks out for you on those long
Love
flights.
snacks. Talk to the stewardesses, the flight attendants. This is a good thing to do regardless. Talk to the flight attendants and be kind to them, be polite. They will do things for you that
Special.
not even things you're asking for. They'll just do special things for you because you're kind, because you're...
Because they're used to dealing with rude people.
And so, anyway,
Plus, it also helps. Like when we do like long flights, for instance, when we go over to Europe, usually the shortest amount of time is like 7 hours, and so I use the 2 hour rule to help me keep track of how close we're getting to the place, and it just helps time go by faster for me. Anyways, at least that's how I like. Oh, okay, 2 hours. All right, we have this many hours left. All right, in 2 hours it'll be this many hours.
Right, it helps you track time.
Yeah, because you lose track of time when you're flying that direction because of the time change and because of the sun rising or setting, depending on what time of the day you're flying. And so,
Right. So we also do the 2 hour rule in the car.
Yeah.
When we drive, we'll drive with our fifth wheel every 2 hours minimum. And so we kind of use our half tank mark as a rule. And if everything's good drive wise and we're not having it, we could go almost 2 hours on a half a tank. But sometimes it's shorter than that. That's fine. We use the half tank mark. We stop for fuel, and we'll walk around and just stretch, and it keeps you where you're not as exhausted when you get to the destination. You want to be able to move and do things when you get to the destination, not be so exhausted. So okay, so that's my tip.
all right, so we're on number 5. Number 5.
No, is it number 5? Okay, so this is mine next.
Oh yeah, this is yours.
Versatile shoes.
That's funny.
You have that one?
That's my number 5.
Okay, so I actually wear the same pair of shoes for the whole trip, whether I'm preaching, whether I'm walking, no matter what I'm doing. And so I wear a pair of kind of business casual shoes, and they're comfortable. They're incredibly comfortable. I like Johnston Murphys for this, for men. My Johnston Murphys, they have they're attractive shoe as far as they look almost dressy. I see a lot of guys now, a lot of pastors now even wearing them on the platform. I know that there's some people that wouldn't do that. That's fine. But for me, when I'm traveling, I can wear that shoe. I don't have to pack shoes in my bag. I can wear it when I'm walking on touring. I can wear it when I'm preaching. I can wear it, no matter what we're doing. And so, if we're going to be somewhere where we're going to be in the water, I pack a pair of water shoes, but they're flats. I mean, they're very, very thin. And that would be literally the only other thing I
pack
take.
your water shoes in a gallon Ziploc bag, because when you go to the water,
well,
they're full of sand.
Yeah.
And so you don't want that sand in your suitcase. So
yeah.
that's my travel tip on shoes.
Yeah. So that's a very good point. So that's my number 5.
So my number 5 was wear appropriate walking shoes, because depending on where you're going, for instance, in Europe, they have a lot of cobblestone streets.
Yes.
And just a flat pair of sandals or flip flops are not going to cut it.
Yeah.
You need something with thicker soles, like he said, the Johnston Murphys. So for me,
you don't use Johnston Murphys.
No. So I usually pack a good pair of tennis shoes for me, and then
That's what she wears now.
yeah, Hoka's. Those are really good. And then if I'm going someplace, for instance, like if we're going to Belize or whatever, I don't even pack a pair of tennis shoes. I only pack my sandals. And
Angela
my
has
shoes.
like full on active walking sandals. That's
Yep, I do. I have. They're not hiking sandals, but they're almost like hiking sandals, and so they've got thick soles, and I just take those, and they're waterproof. And so
I have taken a pair of sandals. If we're gonna be just primarily on vacation, I'll take a pair of sandals. I won't take a pair of sandals if we're doing mission trip.
If we're doing mission trip, I'll take a pair of tennis shoes, and then I'll take a dressy casual.
Yeah.
And that's it. So I'll take 2 pairs, because they don't make ladies dress walking shoes like they do for guys. So
okay.
But yeah. So yeah.
Cool.
But make sure you have appropriate walking shoes,
Appropriate footwear.
because you're going to be doing a lot of walking, and
your feet will mess up your trip if you're not careful.
it will hinder it. It'll slow you down. It'll stop you even if it's not very good. So, and you don't want to be hindered or stopped on your vacation.
Right.
So that was my number 5.
Or number
I
6.
told you we would have some that
I
were
said
the same.
some. I said we would have some, but I don't think a lot.
Okay, so number 6, be sure to let someone know what your travel plans are just in case of an emergency.
That's no fun.
I know, but still, this life is short, and you never know what will happen. So, you do want to make sure that people know where you're going to be at, and that way somebody can get a hold of you.
That's just the mom. That's just the mom in her.
Well, I've got 4 kids. I got grandbabies.
Okay, number 6 for me. This is going to be an odd one, but find peace in the airport chapel.
Okay.
So we travel on American if we're traveling international. It's usually one of the best prices, but we stopped looking for only the best price. And I'll talk more about price in a minute because of trying to get airline miles, and that does matter. We've used our airline miles for
Everything.
for emergency trips and various different things. And so, but one of the things that you'll find, especially if you have much of a layover, and if it's very busy airport, it's not restful, and you're looking to find a seat, and their seats are sometimes uncomfortable. You don't know what. Well, every airport has a chapel, and it's easy to go into the chapel and just sit and rest, and it's quiet.
And usually dark.
And it's not a place necessarily to go sleep, because a lot of times they'll have rules about that. But if you can't go into like a airport lounge, like American has lounges or something, you can only do those if you have the right credit card and if you have the right. Now, sometimes you can buy lounges. And one of the things we did, like one time flying internationally, we stopped in London, and we were coming out of Israel at the time.
We had an overnight flight.
And we had an overnight flight and everything. And we ended up in London, and we were exhausted and we were dirty because we had come from the Dead Sea. And it was just
we didn't have time.
We were supposed to have time to take showers.
It didn't work out.
So that first flight was
gross.
But in London, Heathrow, there's a place, one of the lounges, you can actually just pay for a shower room. And so we were able to get a room it was just a large bathroom with a shower and everything. And that was actually really nice.
That was very nice. And I think we got a massage too. I remember getting
like a shoulder massage. Necks and shoulder massages are great when you're traveling. So, but that was good. But if you're on the cheap, you don't have access to something like that, you're trying not to spend money, airport chapels.
Yes.
Quiet, peaceful. They're not very busy. I mean, there may not be anyone else in there, and if they are in there, they're not allowed to talk.
And one time when we were flying in Brazil, we rented one of those quiet pods to sleep in because we had
not every airport has those, but
but we had like 6 hours.
We had 6 hours.
So
we had flown overnight.
Yeah.
It was $15.
Yeah.
And it had 2 bunks.
And it was fairly quiet in there. Like,
really
you couldn't hear the announcements and things like that. So be sure to set an alarm if you do something like that. But it was something, that gave us a little bit of rest and helped us feel refreshed. Check those things out.
Right. Okay, my number 7. Is that my number 7? I think so. What number are you on?
We're on 7.
Okay. Stop the round trip. So this is a financial tip. Often you think only of booking flights to where you're actually going. And did you put this?
No.
Okay.
I know where you're going.
Don't only look there. I mean, obviously that's the first place to look. But let's say, for instance, you're flying to Europe, which we have done a ton on mission trips. We've traveled a lot, but I will tell you, we have only traveled twice where it was purely vacation. All of our travel has been
3 times.
3 times. That's right. 3 times in 30 years of marriage. Almost all of our travel has been mission trips. And one of the episodes we're going to do is about mission trips. It won't be about travel, but it'll be about
We'll go further.
Don't give away the goods.
But I will tell you this. I found this about Europe. Okay. If you're going to Europe and you're thinking, well, we're going to, Italy, or we're going to, England, and you just look at airports there, you will pay more.
Yep.
When you're in Europe, or when you're in, let's say, Asia, flights, once you're on the continent, are way cheaper. Like way, way cheaper. They're way cheaper than they are in the U.S. for intercontinental flights here in the U.S. Flights in Europe, you can fly sometimes, for $30, $50, round trip to places, and depending on your time frames and when you're traveling and stuff, it can be cheaper. It can be more, but there's discount airlines on over in Europe too. So what happens is that, for instance, we were going to Prague on a missions trip. To fly round trip to Prague, it was stupid. It was like $1,800. It was very expensive. So we
Each.
And so we started looking. Now it's not always that expensive, but for whatever reason at the time we were looking, it was very expensive. So we start looking around at other places because I know once I'm in Europe, I can fly to Prague cheaply in Europe. So we're looking around, and I'm just looking at major cities, major hubs, and I'm like, okay, I can fly here for this much, here for this much, and I just keep on looking, and I found round trip flights to Copenhagen for $600 a piece, third of what it would cost to Prague. Then to fly from Copenhagen to Prague, it costs us, I think, round trip was like $120 each. And so now we're at $720 instead of $1,800. We're less, this is significantly less. The weird thing about the trip was we flew through Helsinki. And as we're coming into the airport there, the pilot says, he goes, welcome to Helsinki. It's funny. It's like,
we were sitting there, we were like, finish the word, man.
Yeah. So the weird thing was I had priced flying to Helsinki. Okay. It was more expensive to fly to Helsinki than to Copenhagen, even though we had to go through Helsinki to get to Copenhagen. It was an extra flight to Copenhagen, and it was still cheaper. The point is that often what happens is they're trying to promote tourism in a certain area. Maybe their flight through there. Sometimes it would be like Iceland. Flying to Europe through Iceland can sometimes be cheaper. So you need to shop flights and routes because you might find yourself saving literally thousands of dollars. We saved on that, even with the extra flight from Copenhagen to Prague and back. We saved $1,000 a piece on that trip. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of shopping.
That was a lot of money.
And then also you get to sometimes, like for instance, on that trip, I didn't know anything about Helsinki or Copenhagen or anything like that about that region. And so like even in the airport, walking through the airport, you got to see some of their
and we didn't go out of the
customs and
airport in
things.
Finland, but we did get to see a lot of cool stuff. And
they like their chocolate covered licorice. I never would have thought about putting chocolate on licorice, but hey, it was good. I liked
black
it.
licorice
Yeah.
is nasty.
So just seeing different things like that.
Yeah. So anyway, that was that's a
And I got my cup, my Starbucks cup.
She collects Starbucks cups. Yep. So regional, not cities. She collects like countries
and states.
And states. Yeah. So.
All right. So my number 7. Don't travel with tons of cash. Just have a small amount when you land and withdraw from the ATM as needed.
True. Often it's more expensive to exchange cash than to withdraw it.
Yes.
You get the best exchange rates if you withdraw. You get the best exchange rates if you use your credit card. But if you need local currency, which is good to have some.
To have a little bit.
Then getting it from the ATM is the cheaper option often than using the
withdrawing it as you need it. Yeah, because then you don't want to have a lot of extra currency left when you come home because
I do travel with some cash regardless, but not necessarily for exchange.
Right.
Just because of emergency. Okay,
number 8. Be sure to pack a few days extra of any medication in case of delays.
We've been delayed.
Yes. Or in case you want to take a bump.
That's another thing, and I didn't even
because then you get airline credits and you get extra tax.
If you have the ability to take bumps, I would take them.
Take a bump.
But they don't always offer them. It must have been a little while since we were even offered a bump. Yeah. But we've taken bumps and we've done. That adds to a lot of future travel reduction of expenses is how we've used it. So we've been able to save a lot.
Or go somewhere else on.
That's how we went to the Dominican.
On the airline's dime.
And it cost us nothing to go down
because we took a bump going to the Philippines.
Yeah.
And we got
And
first class
we-
seats
what we
when we
were-
took that bump.
we were able to take our kids. We came up to a conference here in the Northwest after we were pastoring in Oklahoma. We needed to come up to a conference here, so we brought the kids here. We did the conference. We had a little bit left on everything, and we were able to fly Angela and I to the Dominican round trip for free
Yeah.
because of taking a bump. So that
Yeah.
that was a good thing. All right, number 8 for me, build relationships. And I mean with people as you travel. Keep if you're friendly with people, this is the thing I found. Kindness and friendliness goes a long
A
way.
long way.
Even if you can't speak the language. It's a very important part of travel, and Angela's on the phone right now while we're recording for some reason.
Sorry.
But one of the things we found, if you're going to go back to that area and you've built a relationship with people, keep track of information, how to get a hold of them, because when you go back, they're a great resource.
Yes.
And not taking advantage of anybody, but the more that you've done with someone, the more friendly the
Yes.
pricing is, the more there's stranger price, there's friend price.
Yes.
And you're not taking advantage of them if they offer you a better price. But you're repeat customer and you build
Mhm.
relationship.
Yep.
I like to joke with people, talk with people. People
free.
everywhere are friendly. And I know there's some that are not, but you learn so much too. As you're friendly with people and you build relationships, you learn about things that you wouldn't read in the tour book because you're talking to locals, you're talking to people. It's like, hey, have you been here? No, I haven't even heard of that. And we've been to some of the coolest places because of that. Things that we didn't even know about, but
Yeah.
building relationships was part of that.
Yep. That's awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
Totally recommend that. So number 9.
You got my number 9?
Yep.
Do lots of research. So one of the things that you don't know what you don't know, don't assume anywhere is like what you are familiar with. Do lots of research. Do research about every aspect of the trip you can possibly think of. And so don't just look on, Travelocity or TripAdvisor. I mean, read travel blogs of people that have been there. I watch YouTube videos, things to do, things not to do, mistakes, common errors, things to watch out for. It's the more knowledge you have when you travel, the less mistakes you'll make. And so do lots of research. Don't go blindly.
Yeah, and then also like sometimes we think here on this side wherever you're going, you think, oh, I think it would be cool to see this, and then when you do your research and people are like, it's really just a 5-minute stop, and you've wanted to plan
you
2
planned
days
your whole day
it.
around it.
Yeah,
and
so-
it's like, oh, that was completely disappointing.
Yeah, so it also helps you regulate
Sometimes
your time.
things get promoted as cool because of they're like a tourist trap.
Yep.
And it's not worth the trip. So
Right,
the more research
exactly.
you do, the more you'll
You'll have a
those
better
things.
time. Yep. Okay, so number 9 for me was be adventurous.
Okay, so we hit that one early,
Yes.
but
Yeah. Well, we were going to say something about it and I forgot.
well, no, I said about the food. You said about the food, and I said, oh, don't say that yet.
Oh yeah, about be adventurous with the food, because like even, grew up in America and I didn't travel much, growing up. And so my family was, beans and rice and meat and fried potatoes and cornbread. And that was the extent of our, adventurous. And so for me, when we started traveling, it was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this kind of stuff, but I found out that I do like a lot of things. And so it didn't limit me. You're going to be miserable if you only eat chicken strips and hamburgers everywhere you go.
If you only do what you already know you're comfortable with, you're going to miss out on so many great experiences.
So we've tried so many things. In the Philippines, I grew up in Texas. There's not North Texas, so I wasn't close to the oceans. Seafood and that kind of stuff to me was like, I
Right.
don't know, but I love the
We
most
love
seafood.
seafood now, and
I can't do the oysters or clams. Like I tried them.
yeah,
I did try them
We
because
s-
that's my rule. I try everything.
we struggled with the idea of seafood at first.
Yeah.
Because both of us grew up in landlocked areas where seafood was like catfish. That was what you could get, and I didn't like catfish.
Yeah.
So I thought all fish was terrible, and now we really
Now
love
we
fish.
really like it. So don't limit yourself. Be adventurous. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. For 10 for you.
Number 10. This one is probably number 1 and number 10 are probably my most favorite. Leave the cell phone off.
Yes.
Turn it off.
Yeah. Don't. Well, I mean, if you're on a trip with people, you have to have a way to get contacted, but you don't have to answer
You
every
can leave it on
call.
airplane
You don't
mode.
have to answer every.
Use your map to get where you're
email.
going. Put it on airplane mode.
Yeah. it's okay to disconnect. You know, there was a time when people went on trips and it would take them a month to go on a trip and there was no phone to get a hold of them. They would write letters maybe or something.
Yeah.
Life goes on. Everything's going to be okay.
Most of the time in the airport, wherever you're going, they have a city map or a regional map.
We'll
Grab
take
a paper map.
Yeah.
Grab a paper map.
We'll
take
take
it
a
with
picture
you.
of it. and
Turn your
things like
phone
that.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one. I like that. Okay, my number 10. Sorry. This is it. Ready? Travel.
Don't wait.
Travel. We would take we most of our travel has been mission trips. But what we would do is we would do the mission trip. We're already on another continent. And at the end of the trip, we'd say, okay, this is when the trip ends. Everyone's going to be at the airport. Everyone can go home, or you can do whatever you want. If you want to go somewhere else, and we told our folks, if you want to go, you know, we're in England, maybe on a mission trip. If you want to go to Paris, now's the time to do it. It's going to be
You're
cheap.
there.
It's never going to be cheaper for you to do right now. Or if you want to go somewhere else. And so we would do that. And we would add, you know, typically 4 days onto the end of our trip, and we would get everyone to the airport. We would take that next 3 days, we would fly out to somewhere. We would see something new. We would do some new things. It was so cheap to do because we're already there. And then, you know, we come back that third day. And so we've had, you know, maybe 2.5 days, 3 days sometimes to do something new, to see something new, to travel, to enjoy some downtime. And then we come back and we'd fly the rest of our trip home. And that was it, you know. And so it didn't add that much, and it didn't add that much expense. And we were already there. And I'd say the biggest mistake people make is thinking, well, I'll travel someday. But I talk to so many people that, you know, you get to an age where you physically can't travel. And so don't wait.
And
No.
if you're nervous about going by yourself, do a missions trip.
Yeah.
It's the best way to be introduced to
we
travel.
love missions trips. And we're going to talk about missions trips here.
But I'm just saying, it gives you a way to travel with somebody who hopefully knows what they're doing and
we prefer
kind of grounds you a little bit.
like total freedom when we're traveling, not traveling on a tour group. Now, missions trips, we love. We love being with our group on mission trip because it's people we love and know well. But a stranger tour group, we don't like.
It's too restrictive.
But that doesn't mean that's us. That's not everyone. And if that's your thing, do it. But do something. Do travel.
Yeah.
That was my last tip.
Travel. Yep. That's
There you
our
go.
travel tips.
Almost 20 tips. I'd say we only had what? 2
We
or
only had a
3?
couple that
I told
were-
you there wasn't
yeah.
going to be many that would be the same.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we'll talk to you next time.